Okay, this is 6.6 part 2. This is solving logarithmic equations. 6.6 part 1 is solving exponential equations. This one is solving logarithmic equations. The first type that we're going to look at is when we have logs on both sides. So I'm going to call this type 1 logs on both sides. This is the super easy kind. Log base 4 of stuff equals log base 4 of other stuff. Because log base 4 and log base 4 are the same, then the things inside those logs must also be the same. So 3 must equal 2x plus 5. And that's a kind of equation that we've been solving forever. So subtract 5 on both sides. X equals -1. Now, we do need to be careful with logs because it says clearly here, check for extraneous solutions. The big thing to remember here, I'm just going to extend this highlighting and add a little space for me to write a note. No negatives inside logarithms. If you grab your calculator and try to do log of -5, my calculator currently is set for imaginary numbers. Do you see this I right here? I means it's an imaginary number. That means it's not possible. If I quickly change my mode so that only real numbers are possible, and I try that same thing again, it says non-real answer. So you cannot have logs or negatives inside logarithms. So anytime you get a negative number, you should really check to make sure, is this going to be okay? Quite frankly, you should check any number. If I do 2 times -1, that's -2. -2 plus 5 is +3. So we still would have a positive inside that log, so it would be okay. Number 10, we've got ln of stuff equals ln of other stuff. So stuff equals other stuff. Now this one's a little tricky because they stuck in here an x squared. Anytime you have x squared and x, you need to get one side equal to 0 so that you can factor and solve. You're looking for two numbers that multiply to give you 12 and add up to -4. I think that would be 2 and 6. It'd be -6 and +2. So then our solutions are -2 and +6. Now let's check it. -2 squared is +4. That would be a +8. So yes, we're good. And if you plug a 6 in there, it's not going to give you any negatives. So you're good. X equals -2. X equals 6. Okay, I'm going to go through just one of these with you. I don't think there's any like this on your assignment, but it does lead us into what we're going to be doing eventually. So it is worthwhile. There are logs on both sides, but do you see how there are 2 logs on the left side? When there are 2 logs on the left side, you need to remember your rules and you need to condense. So addition between the logs means multiplication inside the logs. So it's x plus 2 times x minus 3 equals the log of x plus 29. Now we've got log of stuff equals log of other stuff. So we know that the first set of stuff equals the other stuff. Okay, we would have to double distribute. Oops, plus 2x. Combine our like terms. And then we would have to get 0 on one side so that we could factor and solve. So that would be x squared minus 2x minus 35 35, I believe that would be 5 and 7. To get -2, the 7 would need to be negative. So our solutions are -5 and +7. Check your solutions. Now don't check it in the first step that we did. You're going to check these solutions back in the original. So if I put a -5 right here in this x, -5 plus 2 is -3. And a -5 here minus something, that's still going to be negative. We're going to have log of negative plus log of negative. That is not okay. So -5 does not work. 7 plus 2 is positive. 7 minus 3 is positive. 7 plus 29 is positive. X equals 7 is A-okay. Okay, let's move on to the next page. This type of problem, what you've seen in numbers 9, 10, and 11, you will see these also on worksheet 6. So if you need more practice after you have done your required Big Ideas math assignment, you would want to try worksheet 6, and I will post an answer key to that on Teams. Okay, now we're moving to type 2. Type 2 is log on one side. When we have log on one side, you are going to isolate the logarithm and then change forms. Change it back to exponential and then solve it. Remember the logarithm, woo! A to the x equals y, and that's what they have written right here. So get the log by itself. Like, look at number 15. See how there's something multiplied in front, there's something added after? On number 15, you would start by subtracting 7 on both sides. And then you would divide both sides by 2. And then you would continue with the next steps. We're actually going to skip number 15. That's why I did a little bit of number 15. I wanted you to see how you get that log by itself. So in number 13, the log is already by itself. So now we need to change forms. Start at your base. Woo! The most common error that I see is people try to rewrite this again as a logarithm. It's currently a log. Write it without the log. So 2 raised to the -1 equals x. And now you just need to do 2 to the -1. Hey, it's 0.5 or 1/2. Check to make sure that doesn't make a negative inside your log, and you're good to go. Number 14, I don't think I put any of these on your assignment, but it's worth showing in case you do see it eventually. Remember that ln is the same as log base e. Okay, so now we're stuck. The log is by itself. There's nothing multiplied in front. There's nothing added or subtracted after. Now we need to change forms. Start at your base. Woo! E raised to the 3rd equals x plus 22. What would we need to do to get that x by itself? We would need to subtract 22. If I was plugging this into my calculator, I would type in e to the 3rd minus 22. My answer is -1.914. Now, -1.9 plus 22, that's going to end up being positive, so it is fine. Let's look at number 16. Step 1, get that log by itself. So first thing we need to do is subtract 15 on both sides. That would be 16. We need to get rid of this times 2. Divide both sides by 2. And now there's nothing else that we can do using normal addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. When you're stuck, change forms. Once you have the log by itself, change forms. Start at your base. Woo! We would rewrite that as 2 to the 8th equals x. Grab your handy dandy calculator. 2 to the 8th is 256. And if I plug 256 in there, that is a positive inside the log, so it is just fine. All right, let's look at number 17. Number 17 is kind of like what we saw on the previous page. There are two logs on the same side. So our first step is to condense. So log base 2 of x times x minus 2 equals 3. Step 2, and I think I'll make this a different color, is to change forms. Woo! 2 to the 3rd equals x times x minus 2. Your next step is to simplify what you have and get 0 on one side. So 2 to the 3rd is 8, and this is x squared minus 2x. Subtract 8 on both sides to get x squared minus 2x minus 8. Your next step is to factor and solve. You're looking for two numbers that multiply to give you -8 and add up to 2. That would be 2 and 4. It'd have to be a -4 to add up to -2. So +2 minus 4 is -2. +2 times -4 is -8. So then our solutions are -2 and +4. Your last step is going to be to check those solutions back in the original problem. Don't go to your step 1, go back to the original problem. Because if I take this -2 and put it right there, I have log base 2 of -2. And you cannot have a negative inside a log, so that one's no good. 4 would make that positive. 4 minus 2 would make this other one positive. So x equals 4 is fine. Okay, keep this one in your notes. I want you to write it with all those step by step. I think there's 2 of these in your assignment. There are quite a few problems very similar to number 13 in your assignments. Let me just make this smaller so we can kind of see all of them. There are like 2 problems like number 13. There I think are 2 problems like number 17. And I think there's only a couple problems like number 9 and 10. On this page of your notes, if you want more practice like these, you can do worksheet 7. Worksheet 7 will have more practice, and I will post an answer key. Now first, your assignment for this section is in Big Ideas Math. Remember, you log in through Clever and then go to Big Ideas Math. And it is 6.6 Part 2. That is the required assignment. The optional assignment for extra practice is to do worksheet 6 and worksheet 7. So worksheet 6 and worksheet 7 are optional for extra practice. I will be providing answer keys for those. Your required assignment is 6.6 Part 2 in Big Ideas Math. And I will have help sessions this week. Please log on for the help session. If you're having trouble with any of these problems, I will gladly walk you through them in person live. And it'd be great to hear your voice and see your face because, you know, I miss you. I really, really do miss you. Hope you're doing well, and I will hopefully talk to you soon.